And today's story is on a virtue, which is kindness. Every time when we think that we want something, we desire something, money or power might not be the only thing which would help us get it. Something like our human values, kindness, gratitude, they are as important, and we must never lose those values. So, this story is going to depict that. The story is titled The Rainbow Prince, and I'm going to share it. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess called Rupanjali. She was so pretty, she was so kind, she was excellent in every way. Her parents were very worried for her. They used to think, where will we get such a bridegroom for her? She is now of a marriageable age. How will we marry her off? The king, her father, had a good idea. He suggested all of his bards to go to neighboring kingdoms and bring the pictures of the most handsome and the most noble princes of all. A few days later, when all the bards returned from the neighboring kingdoms, the king had an art gallery set up, and he put the exhibits of the pictures on the wall. Rupanjali went and looked at each of the picture very carefully, and after she completed her round, she came back to her father. Her mother asked, "Well, my dear, which one of them do you like?" Rupanjali said, "Father, mother, none of these are worthy of me. I cannot marry any of them." The king said, "But these are the most noble princes of the whole land. If you don't marry any of them, who will you marry?" Rupanjali took her parents outside and pointed to the land of the rainbow. And she said, "I will only marry a man as handsome as the rainbow. I will marry the rainbow prince." Her father did not know how to get to the land of the rainbow and could not do anything there. So he decided to wait. A few days later, a very a stranger came to the land playing a very beautiful music that nobody had ever heard. And he was playing it on the harp. All the people of the kingdom started following him, but he paid no attention to them. He went straight to the king and he announced, "Your Majesty, I come from the land of the rainbow. Our prince is now eligible for marriage, so we are looking for a suitable bride for him. And we have heard your daughter is eligible for marriage, so we come with a proposal." The king is very happy. Finally, Rupanjali's prayers have been answered. The prince is himself come with a proposal. The bard said, "But there is a catch to this situation. Long ago, an evil witch came to our kingdom, and she cursed our prince and put him to sleep for a long time. The prince has not awoken since then, and she put his consciousness in that of a red parrot. Now, the prince will only awaken when the red parrot is found." The red parrot flew away into the vast skies, and no one knew where it went. When Rupanjali heard of this, she was adamant to marry the rainbow prince, and she told her father, "The red parrot must be found. I will only marry the prince." Well, the king had no option, but he still did not know what to do. He said, "How can we find a parrot in the sky?" Rupanjali ordered that all the birds of the kingdom are to be captured and put in a large cage, and the red parrot will surely be among them. The king said, "But my dear, this is a very cruel act." Rupanjali said, "I don't care. If you love me, you must do this." The very next day, the orders were issued. All the hunters, All the bird trappers were set off to work and caught all the birds around. Soon, all the nests of the tree were empty, the skies were devoid of any kind of chirping, and all the birds were wailing pitifully in this massive cage constructed by Rupanjali. Rupanjali had a maid called Nilu. Nilu heard the birds cry and she felt sorry for them. She went to the princess because she knew the princess was very kind, and she went and asked her, "My princess, the birds are crying. Why not set them free?" Rupanjali got very angry. She flew into a rage and said, "How dare you question my actions?" Nilu thought that this is not the princess I knew. This is not our kind and gentle Rupanjali. Let me try once again. Nilu tried again and said that, "My princess, for your own needs, how can you do this to them?" Rupanjali again angrily replied that your heart is melting for them, right? Nilu said, "Yes, it goes out for them. Look at them. They are so full of sorrow." Rupanjali ordered her guards, "Throw this maid into the cage with the birds if she loves them so much." And poor Nilu was thrown into the cage with the birds. She cried herself to sleep there. Meanwhile, she was woken up by a bird, and it was a red parrot. The red parrot spoke to Nilu and said, "Nilu, look at you human beings. You are so cruel. Look at us. This cage, the thread, it has hurt my wings so badly." Nilu felt very sorry for the bird, and she said, "I don't care what happens to me. I will let this bird free." She began to cut open a part of the cage and picked up the bird to release him. Meanwhile, the princess was walking to see whether the red parrot had been caught or not. Seeing the bird in Nilu's hands, she felt, "Oh, Nilu has caught the bird." But that was not to be. Nilu was releasing the bird. And as the princess walked closer, Nilu released the bird out of the cage. Rupanjali tried to catch the bird as it flew over her head, but she failed, and she became very angry. And she said, "You wicked girl, you have released my parrot. That was my prince. You will die for this." And she gives the orders that Nilu is supposed to be pushed off a cliff. So Nilu is taken to the cliff and she is going to be pushed off. As she is pushed off, time stops, but she does not hit the ground. Instead, two very strong arms protect her. She opens her eyes and sees a handsome man standing there. And he says, "Nilu, I am the Rainbow Prince. Come, let us go up to the top of the hill." And he takes Nilu up. Nilu is so happy that finally her princess is going to meet the prince of her dreams. And as Rupanjali sees the prince, she thanks Nilu. "Oh, you have brought my prince to me. I am so overjoyed." But the prince ignores Rupanjali and he goes ahead and garlands Nilu. Rupanjali is horrified and she says, "No, no, that is just a maid. I am the princess here. You have to marry me. You have come to me." He still ignores her and goes ahead and has begun to walk off with Nilu. But while Rupanjali was stopping him, the prince turns around and tells her that for your selfish ends, you have tortured all the birds. I was the red parrot and I had taken that form to test a girl eligible for me. Being born a princess does not mean that you have all the virtues of a princess. It is Nilu who has all the virtues of the princess, and that is why I have chosen her to get married. And I will take her with me to the land of the rainbow. Saying so, he walks off with Nilu. He leaves behind a Rupanjali who is sadder but wiser, and her father says that, my dear, in the future you have nothing else to do, but you have to remain kind and merciful and compassionate in all situations. And this is how the story ends, and this is how we come to know that it is not our greed for something cannot get us that thing with our power, with our angry nature. It will only be through kindness. And if we are kind and compassionate, we will definitely get what we are looking for. So, thank you all for looking at the story, for watching the story. You can go to my channel, which is youtube.com Sarah Stories, and it is also pasted in the comment section. You can click and go. I hope to see you all next Monday, and I'll be back with a new story. Thank you.